Hey guys, John with Scottsdale Living, and today is the first episode of the Scottsdale Batch podcast. So I'm super excited. We brought in, I would say, the titan of the industry here in Scottsdale. This is Casey Hohman, Scottsdale Bachelorette.
Correct. Yep.
So the Bachelorette business in Scottsdale is just crazy, right?
Yes.
Is it so? I think you've been in it since 2018. Is that
Correct.
right?
Yes.
So prior to that, was it a big business, or has it really boomed in the last couple of years?
I think the whole Bachelorette industry as a whole has really evolved over the last several years, but Scottsdale in particular over the last 2 or 3 years has really blown up as a destination.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Because I mean, you always think the guys had the party in the past. You know what I mean? Like there was always the bachelor party in Vegas or whatever.
Yeah.
And the girls didn't seem to be a big venue kind of thing. But boy, they changed that, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's really an extension of the wedding industry too, if you think about it, right? Now you've got engagement parties, you've got bridal parties, you've got everything sort of leading up to these life events has gotten bigger and better.
Totally.
Even with babies, right? You've got gender reveal parties now, right? All these things.
Right?
And so I think for bachelorette parties, it's really this once in a lifetime opportunity to get together with your closest group of friends and have this really amazing experience.
And that's what you do, right?
Yes.
You build the experience. I mean, tell us kind of what you guys do. I mean, you do the whole thing nuts to, start to finish, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we can help with every aspect of their party, everything from concierge services like decorating and fridge stocking, all the way up to helping them book experiences like activities, restaurant reservations, nightlife reservations, all of that. So we really created a website where they can plan their entire weekend from one place. So it saves them a ton of time, ton of hassle from having to go and look on TikTok and Instagram and all these different websites. Just really one-stop shop for anything they need.
So I'm not totally familiar. Is it a concierge service? I mean, like, is somebody assigned to them that kind of walks them through it, or is it a self-serve kind of picked from the menu thing?
It's mostly self-serve. So we did have an itinerary planning service that we launched, and what we found is that people really like to kind of browse the options and pick for themselves. And so, there's a lot of back and forth with the group and things like that. So we really created it so that if they see something they're interested in, they can just put in a booking request for it. And then the provider would reach out to them if it's not something that we provide ourselves.
That's killer. So it's kind of a new industry, right? Because I've been married twice. My bachelor party was kind of just us showing up and figuring out what to do, right?
It used to be or even just, the night before a wedding. It's
totally,
go out to the bar and
100%.
That turned out to be a terrible idea because, didn't feel so good on the wedding day.
Right?
So now people do it kind of months in advance, and they tend to space it out because, sometimes people have to travel for the wedding too. So they might travel several months before the wedding to do this bachelorette party. And it's gotten bigger and better. People are, want to have the best experience, and they want to have this really memorable experience.
So what are some of the experiences here in Scottsdale that you think are really unique? And also that kind of surprise you? I mean, is there something out there you're like, wow, I didn't really think that would work?
The Cabana Boys is a good example of that it's kind of came out of the blue, where it's so 2 guys will come to the Airbnb and just basically have an amazing time and play games with you and stuff like that, serve drinks. But I think, one of the big reasons why
these guys are a little bit more in shape than me, I'm assuming.
pretty good looking. And just really fun personalities too, which makes it even better. But really what I think people are coming here is for the weather too, right? The weather, the restaurants, the nightlife, all that good stuff. And so I think whenever you think about experiences, like what can people go out and enjoy in the outdoors, right? So Arizona party bikes are a really popular example of that, or maybe ATV tours, or even a hot air balloon ride. All these things where you get to see this beautiful desert.
I've even seen them on the lake, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen them in the boats out on the lake, which is crazy,
Yeah, party boat experience, which is really popular out on Lake Pleasant. So, we've really tried to curate all these things in one place so that, they can find those on our website and book them if they like.
Absolutely. So how do you kind of vet everybody? I mean, because there's a lot of people that have hopped into the business.
Yeah.
And that sometimes that means it's not the greatest product sometimes. I mean, so what do you guys go through to make sure that you're represented by the best out there?
Yeah. I mean, first thing we look at is reviews as well as, just past experiences with other groups. We want to make sure that anyone that we're putting our stamp of approval on has done a really good job. We try to try out the experiences ourselves too, to make sure that we like them and can recommend them. And then just constantly getting feedback as well from the group. So, if they had a great experience and they enjoyed it, we tend to hear about that after the weekend. So that gives us that confidence that they're a great vendor.
So how did you get into this, Casey? I mean, obviously nobody is 12 years old thinking, hey, I'm going to plan bachelorette parties.
Never thought I'd be in this industry, to be honest. But I grew up and my career was really in the startup space.
Okay.
So I went to school for
tech
marketing.
Startup?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
So I worked at Yelp and then Uber and then a real estate tech company called HomeLight. And I just was always curious about starting my own business. I had a couple family members that had started businesses. but never really thought it was for me.
Sure.
And I just kind of started as a side hustle. I noticed all the bachelorette parties coming into town.
Just wandering around
local.
aimlessly.
Yeah. And I'm local, and I thought, I wonder how they know where to go and what to do, because that must be really difficult. I hate whenever I have to go to a new city and plan the itinerary.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe I could do
a
little
crazy thing on the side. Like when I travel, I always get on the big red bus. You know what that is?
Yeah, it's like a tour.
It is. So like anywhere, you know, I'll land in London. It's like, okay, now I'm going to hop on the bus and figure out what to do. You know, because it kind of takes you around. But anyway, sorry to cut in on you.
Yeah, no, gives you some ideas, and I think that's really what, you know, like you said, it's not easy to figure out where to go and what to do. And so that's kind of why I started it. And I've always had girls as friends growing up. And so I have a good, you know, eye and understanding of what they need and what they're looking for. So I said, why not put together some services? And, you know, it's just kind of blown up since then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you guys, if you don't mind going into it, how do you generate revenue out of it?
Yeah. So the number one thing that we do, like I said, is decorating and fridge stocking.
Gotcha.
So that solves a huge need for the groups because
they show up and ready to roll.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you're traveling from New York or Chicago, it's really difficult to bring, you know, a suitcase full of decorations and get the bride out of the house and do all these things. And so we're able to get in with the code or with access from the host to set everything up for them. That way, when they walk in, it's this amazing, you know, moment of the bride seeing everything for the first time, the house
ready to roll.
They're ready to party.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love it so much. So what do you find? I mean, it's they're spending some money, right?
Yeah. Typically about $1,000 to $2,000 on average per person.
Wow. Okay.
Between flights and their Airbnb and activities and experiences. So, you know, it's a pretty pricey weekend for sure.
And what do you see it? I mean, is it like a 2-night weekend or a 3-night, or what's kind of the average?
So it's typically 3 nights. So we see most groups are coming on Thursday and leaving on Sunday.
Gotcha.
And then some groups will come on Friday and leave on Monday. Especially if there's a holiday weekend, they're coming on Friday and leaving on Monday.
Yeah,
but
makes sense.
Yeah, it's typically what we see. A lot of people typically are doing kind of those days for the weekend. Yeah.
So take us through like what's an average weekend? What are they doing?
Yeah. So the first night is usually relatively chill.
Sure.
You know, everyone had flights in. They might go out to a casual dinner or some bars that night. The second day is usually for like at-home experiences as well as excursions out.
So that's your pool day kind of thing?
Yeah. So pool day at the Airbnb, you know, most Airbnbs here in Scottsdale have a pool. So people like to do some type of at-home get together, whether it's a cookout or Cabana Boys or just have drinks by the pool.
Chefs or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. And that morning, typically they'll do some type of an activity. They're not quite, you know, at that point where they're too, you know, hungover or anything yet. So they'll go out to a hike or something like that, active and enjoy the desert scenery.
So the second night is their night. Right?
Yeah. Second night, Friday night's the big night where they're doing a really nice dinner out and typically, you know, going out to the bars and nightlife that night.
And do you guys coordinate? I mean, do you work with the different clubs in town to
we do
put that together?
Yeah. So through our website, again, they can submit VIP bottle service reservations for Riot House or Cake or El Jefe and all these places. That way they can just go and, you know, coordinate directly with them from our website.
Oh, I love it, man. That's fantastic. Yeah. So, and then, you know, the last day, they're just kind of wrapping up at the house and in recovery mode a little bit.
Yeah. Saturday's typically kind of like a day drinking day for a lot of them. So they like to go out to Maya Day Club or maybe the W Scottsdale and do some type of pool party. And then usually if they're drinking during the day and having like a fun party day, then the night's a little bit more chill. So Hibachi Chef is a really popular one to do at the house and or a private chef experience. And then, they kind of pack up and be ready to check out and leave on Sunday.
So what percentage would you say is like staying at Airbnb versus resorts? Is it mostly Airbnb?
Yeah, we're seeing about 95% of our groups are staying at Airbnbs. Together. Yeah, it typically is more cost effective. And then also you get that community experience of sharing the same house, right? Getting ready together, having those common areas to spend some good time together. Right. So mostly the short-term rentals.
So what's a weekend? I mean, what's the busy season for you?
Busy season is typically mid-February through early October.
Okay.
And even throughout the summer, you know, a lot of times people...
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You know, a lot of people, because it does get very hot here in the summer, but people love it. They're coming for the sunshine. They're coming for the pool. They understand, you know, we're in the desert. We've done a good job of like, you know, making that accommodating for people with AC and misters and all that stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
the beauty of it is, you know, even when it's 110, like once the sun goes down, it's not bad, right? I mean, you can still get outside, you can still do stuff, and you can sit in the pool all day when it's 110.
Exactly.
It's fine, you know?
Yeah. That's again why people love it is just, you know, being able to enjoy that water, enjoy the sunshine, which we have plenty of.
Yeah. So what does it look like for you on the busy weekend? I mean, do you have multiple people that work for you? You got crews out all over the place? How's that work?
Yeah, so it's really crunch time. Like Thursdays and Fridays are our busiest days because we're out there setting up all the Airbnbs.
Sure.
So we do up to 40 plus parties a week.
Whoa, dude,
when it comes to
40
decorating
parties in a weekend.
Yeah, so it's quite chaotic, but it's organized chaos. clients basically can book a time through our website. And then we've got 2 vans that go out to do the setups.
Sure.
That typically we're able to get those done in about 30 to 45 minutes max. And we're working from 8 a.m. to 8 or 9 p.m. on those days sometimes.
So it's like the food stocking, is that consolidated with the decorations? You're doing that all at one time? Okay.
Yeah. And we typically have someone that's kind of going out and doing that one task individually with their car. And then we have 2 cargo vans that help us with the decorations. But yeah, they basically would place an online order, pickup order. We pick that up and take it to the house and stock it away for them as we do the decorating.
So it's got to just blow people away when you talk to them. Because I mean, you would think, oh, we do bachelorette planning, right? And you say, oh, that's a fun little thing. Dude, you guys are a business. Like, I mean, that's a warehouse, it's trucks, it's people, it's staff, right?
Yeah. It's something I never thought would be as big as it is.
Sure.
But there's a real need in the market for it. And I think a lot of times when people that are traveling and they don't even know that this exists a lot of times, they're just assuming they're going to do it all themselves.
Right. Yep.
And so when they see it and they realize that they can get it done for, about $100 per person, to save them all that time, energy, effort, it's worth it for a lot of groups.
Well, plus you're consolidating everything in one spot, right? So you got the website and tell us the website.
It's ScottsdaleBachelorette.com.
Sure. So you can go there and pretty much plan out your whole gig, right?
Yeah, exactly. So go on there, browse all the services, book the ones that you want, and hopefully everyone can find at least something on there that's helpful for them for the weekend.
Sure. Do you have give us one crazy story before we cut out? It's got to be G-rated, right?
Yeah. So one time we did show up at a bachelorette party and we get to the house and the maid of honor pulls us aside and she goes, hey, I need to talk to you for a second. She goes, hey, so we need you to take down everything that says bride. And we said, what, was it for a birthday party or like, what did we miss? We want to make sure we get what you booked type of thing, right? She goes, well, the bride decided she's going to call off the wedding.
Oh, man.
And so we kind of looked at each other. We're like, oh, okay. We can definitely do that.
Sure.
But she goes, and you can't tell anyone else or talk about it because I'm the only one that knows so far.
Oh, wow.
So, and everyone's coming in.
That's a reveal party there.
And the group, some of the people from the group start coming in. They're like, we're so excited to celebrate. And so turns out she did end up calling off the wedding, but she wanted to still have this amazing girls weekend and probably be surrounded with some of her best friends as she's going through that. Thing. So yeah, that was a pretty crazy story.
I love it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, again, that's Casey Hohman with the Scottsdale Bachelorette.
Yes.
And if you're coming into town, this is the guy to talk to, right? He can set you up and take care of the whole thing. And we really appreciate you being here and leading off the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thank you, sir.
Take care.